Assalamu alaikum, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are. Welcome to The Other Side with Fariha and Talat. Products are made in a factory, but brands are created in the mind. Your packaging is the outward-facing communication that you give to everyone around you. Whether it's your hair, your clothing, your makeup, your accessories, whatever it is, your packaging, like any good brand, needs to be determined and needs to be purposeful. Our show today, and I'm sure you must have guessed this, is all about how you brand yourself. What is your personal brand? And today is part one of the series. Today's focus is going to be about fashion and accessories and your clothing. Fariha, over to you.
Thank you, Talat. Absolutely right. And you've spoken about packaging. And what I like to talk about is how do you build brand? And let me share some points, typically targeting, how marketers think when they're building a brand. So number one, they want to know what is the purpose behind that product. And I think if you apply to us, to human beings, it's actually who we are, how we want to be portrayed, how we want to be perceived by others. That is quite important. And reflecting on those points and then aligning with our image is quite important. Second point, which is research your competitors. And I think the brand marketers, they do it all the time. And again, when we apply in our setting, it's important to understand what are our unique strengths. What are unique skills, and especially in a professional setting, and I'm sure you've come across those conversations a lot when people say, so why him and why not me when someone is being promoted, right? And I think that's really important to consider, that what is it that is so unique about you. So whether you're an entrepreneur or as a professional, so thinking about it. Number three, the story we tell. And these days we've got Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even WhatsApp messages. So believe it or not, we are telling a story about ourselves. Each message that we share has something that tells us about us. So I think paying attention to it is important. And finally, I think any brand is sustainable and people like if they trust it.
Yes.
So I think, and there is an alignment between the story, what we see and what we get. So it's the same for human beings, that if there is alignment and there's trust in that brand, it's more sustainable. And the underlying factor is confidence. We should have confidence. So who do we have, Talat?
There was, some amazing points you raised there, Fariha, and also especially I love the bit about when you spoke about social media. And this because you're in HR, I'm in HR, and now it's like so easy to Google anyone, right, who's applying to your company for an interview, and their Facebook profile, how they're dressing, what they're doing also in their personal time. That's their projection, right? That's their brand. And that kind of forms an image in your mind or the hiring manager's mind about this person as well. So important. That was a really great fact, some really great stuff.
Actually, Talat, while we're on this, just tip that came to my mind, because again, you and I have spent, and we've always sort of always wondered, sometimes you get strange email address, like beautifuldarling@hotmail.com in a CV. And you're like,
Crazy Alex.
Exactly. And we're not making it up, because I think you and I can prove it. We get those emails and we don't open them.
So, it just shows how lazy or not somebody is. And if you're applying to a professional organization, come on, it takes all of 5 minutes to create an email address that kind of is a little more professional, right? So yeah, great point again, Fariha. So really, really excited today, because today, as I said, our branding or your brand is about clothing, and it's going to be around fashion, around clothing. And who better to call than Maheen Khan. Maheen is the very foundation of Pakistan's fashion history. And as a young woman entrepreneur in the 70s, can you imagine, Fariha, she started her brand in the 17s. She's designed for our country, for Pakistan, right through all the good times, the bad times, the different political arenas. It's amazing, her brand. She's a true leader. She's the mother of fashion. She's literally a living institution. The Italian press has actually dubbed her the Coco Chanel of the East. So I'm so proud that she's Pakistani and she's on our show today. Fariha?
Yeah, and Talat, she's dressed Benazir, of course, the iconic green and white dupatta, and that style. She dressed Diana Kate Middleton, and have you been to her shop, Gulabo?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. She's been
Amazing.
my idol for years, Fariha. Can you imagine? I have been going to Maheen or known her since possibly 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yes,
So it's she's just an institution. That there's no other way to describe her.
totally. And that brand itself is inspired from truck art. So I think what I like about her, I mean, she's very talented. Definitely, she's a high achiever. But the way she has portrayed Pakistan and put it out there in the fashion industry, I think that's amazing. And did you do some work, some modeling work for her?
Absolutely, yeah. So I did like
Tell
I
us
used to
about
wear
that.
Maheen's clothes and I used to like drool over most of them because the really heavy ones and the silk ones were unaffordable for me at that time. But I remember saving up and going and buying one of her cotton joras or one of those. I love those Afghani types. She used to make those
Yeah.
really flared designs. She came out with those. So she's really set the standard in cuts, color, design. I mean, incredible. So yeah.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So stay tuned for our show because you don't want to miss this one with Maheen Khan.